All right. Hey, everybody. Koi here. We're going to be going over a race louver install on my Civic Type R. Sorry, there is no step-by-step video, but what we're doing today is just going to be a quick voiceover, and I'll try not to make it super long and boring because, yes, it is just a bunch of photos, and you get to hear my voice. So it's about 13 videos, 13 photos, but I do have one quick video to kind of show you what it's like once the louver is placed on the hood and kind of what all is exposed. So what we'll start off with here is we're going to start with what's required to do the job. As you can see, the list is actually quite small. So what will come in the box, obviously the louver itself will come from Race Louvers. Race Louver provides a pretty awesome template. It's a huge sheet, so obviously everything is to size, and you will need to use that. And it also comes with the installation hardware. In my case, it just came with the standard black rivets, but I believe they do offer some premium upgrades there, depending on what you want to use to attach the louver to your hood. In addition to that, you're going to need a measuring tape or some kind of straight edge. I cut my hood with an angle grinder with a metal wheel. You can use a Dremel if you want. The hood is aluminum, so be very careful. The angle grinder will cut your hood like butter. It will go very fast. You will need a drill with a 3/16 bit. You can use a smaller bit to get pilot holes if you need, but 3/16 is pretty small. You should be able to just drill right through that. Some kind of marker or Sharpie. You'll need tape. You'll see that I could not find my painter's tape, so I had to use packaging packaging clear tape, and that was a PETA to get off the hood. So if you have blue tape, it will be much smarter. Something to cover your engine bay with, so that way you don't have metal shavings everywhere. Once again, you'll see that I still got metal shavings everywhere. And wrap. So I decided to actually wrap my hood in a carbon fiber wrap as well as the louver, and it, in my opinion, turned out pretty good. Obviously, that is completely optional. So I'm going to go ahead and move this notepad off of the screen, and we're going to go through the photos. So photo number one, we start with I just quickly place the louver onto the hood to kind of see this is what it's going to look like. Man, that really takes up quite a bit of the hood. It's a pretty massive piece, and as you can see, this piece does cover the old or part of the old hood scoop, and that's why there's kind of like the top part is a little bit larger, again kind of covering up the old hood scoop. So we will go on to the next photo. Oh, that's the last photo. So obviously step number one would be to remove your factory hood scoop. Oh, I forgot, you will need a ratchet socket set, and I believe the stock hood are 10 mil deep socket. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong there. It's held on by, I believe, 5 10 mil nuts, and then there's 2 like plastic clips that you'll kind of have to squeeze through, but you'll see it. It's very easy. It pops right out. There's nothing special or fancy about that. So obviously step one would be remove your stock hood. Step two, this is the where the saying goes, measure twice, cut once. And as you can see, my packaging tape is in action here. The goal here is to find the center of the hood. My point of reference was actually the middle hood scoop, OEM hood scoop bolt, or I guess the stud. So as you can see, the line goes right through the middle of that. So I used those as the center point of the hood. From there, you're going to want to basically put the piece of tape down. The tape doesn't need to be straight, but your line needs to be straight, right? So if this is not straight, you can expect everything else we do to not be straight. So again, measure twice, cut once. So put the tape down and draw your straight line. You can see here my tape is not straight. As you can tell, as the tape runs down to the Honda emblem, it's a little bit to the left. So again, the tape wasn't straight, but I made sure the line was straight. All right, and then next up, we're gonna do the same thing with the template. The template comes with a pretty big piece of paper. Cut it down so that way it's a little bit easier to maneuver. But what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna find the center point of the template. This was very simple. Race louver made it super easy because the louver actually kind of points in. It's the top is not completely flat, so it points in, and the bottom kind of points down. So it's very simple. Connect the dots, right? Just from top to bottom, draw that straight line. And guess what we're going to do next? You're going to put the template up onto the hood. You're going to line up your line from the tape to the line on the template. If those are straight lines, your template, in theory, should now be on straight. So go ahead, and what I did here was I just taped the template down on each corner. And again, you just want to make sure, you can see here that the line on my template is matching up with the line that I drew on the tape or the hood originally. So lines up here, lines up there, tape the corners with, in my case, packaging tape. And then from here, this is where you say a prayer to your old hood, because there is no turning back. So go ahead and take your drill with your drill bit, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually drill each corner little pilot holes, right? So these are going to be your markers and for when you go to cut it with the angle grinder or your Dremel. These are going to be your markers. So go ahead and basically just drill. And what I did was I kind of drilled on the inside of the templates, right? So the outer edge of your hole should match up to the outside, or in this case, yeah, the line on the template, right? So once you get all those holes drilled, this is what it should look like. You're going to go ahead and remove the template, and at this point you can go ahead and also remove the tape from the hood from your original line you drew, and we're going to play a little connect the dots. So this is what the hood looks like with the holes drill. This is what it looks like with the tape removed. You're going to go ahead and draw those lines and connect the dots. This is going to be your marker on where do I cut. So at this point, get your safety glasses on. That's another item I missed from the list, but I would hope that it's common sense that if you're going to use cutting tools that wear safety glasses, please. And so we are next step would be again, there's no turning back because you've already got holes now. So we're going to go from having holes to having big lines cut through a hood. And so this is what it looks like. So as you can tell, the angle grinder again cuts it very, very fast. Be very careful. The thing will just sink right through and go very slow. There's it's not, in my opinion, it's not like a Dremel where it heats up. The stuff will just cut, and before you know it, you're slicing through it. Don't worry about cutting through to the bottom or the skeleton side of the hood. I would rather you do this with the hood actually propped open, because the last thing you want to do is cut too deep into the hood, and you've now probably have made marks and or cut into your engine cover, which is obviously not going to be good. So anyway, this is what it's going to look like once you have some cuts from the top, right? And as you can see, metal shavings everywhere. And this is kind of what it looks like on the bottom, right? As you can tell, so there's certain areas where I did cut all the way through. Good. That's okay. But obviously we will need to, make sure that the whole bottom side of the hood also gets cut out, followed with the top side. So top cut, bottom partially cut, but this is kind of where you get an idea of, hey, all right, well, I've got some ways to go, but you also know that, hey, I also didn't cut into my engine cover itself. So again, don't worry about going too deep when you're cutting from the top. You can finish it off with the hood open on the bottom side. So with the top portion cut, the two layers, if you will, the top and bottom layer are kind of it's almost like it's glued together with whatever this black stuff is. So basically what I did here is I just kind of lifted it up to see what it looks like, right? So again, you can kind of see here where, all right, I cut through both layers, but down here we still have the bottom shell to cut through. Again, if you can completely peel this side off, great. If not, just kind of peel it back enough so that way all right, well, I have this much to cut, and go ahead and cut the bottom side of the hood out. And this is what it should look like once everything is cut. So as you can see here, I just used this big packaging mat from Harbor Freight to cover my engine bay. So this is with the top and bottom side cut open. And this is what it looks like I guess washed up. Yeah, I rinsed everything down, and so that way and have metal shavings all over me. So we're gonna quickly go over. I've got a quick video I want to show you guys of what it looks like with the louver kind of placed. And oh my god, you guys do not need to hear my voice anymore. So this is kind of what's all exposed from the hole being open. So obviously that's where all the hot air is at, right? So you've got the turbo right there, you got the downpipe right there, and so this is kind of it lined up. As you can tell here, the louver actually slid down a little bit, so I just pulled it back up so that way it's properly lined up. And yeah, you can see how much, you know, of that hot air, or that hot zone under the engine bay we're trying to evacuate, right? So anyway, that's the video, just to kind of show you what all is exposed. And from here, what else do I got for you? That might be it. Oh yeah, so I wrapped the hood. This is a wrap by Vivid on Amazon. I think I paid like 65 bucks for a 5x, how big a roll did I get? 10 maybe, which was plenty to wrap the hood and the louver. And then this was a photo of the louver still not installed, but I did wrap the louver here. It was pretty cool. Let me see if I can zoom in. You guys can kind of like see the texture, and it's actually, I don't know, I got quite a bit of compliments on like the quality of the carbon fiber wrap. Nobody needs to know, right? But the idea is like, I don't know, I didn't want to do a black wrap. I know carbon fiber wrap is a little cheesy, but to be honest, they've kind of come a long way. They looked really, really bad, I don't know, 10 years ago when people started making, you know, printed carbon fiber wrap, but this stuff doesn't look that bad. In my opinion, it almost kind of matches the carbon fiber from the factory Aero. So, but from here, this is basically what it looks like on the car installed and at Summit Point. And so when you go to install it, I don't have this video here because I actually installed the, you know, when I say install, I riveted it to the hood at the track. So the goal there is obviously place the louver into the hole, and you're gonna want to get the first two center. One second, hold on. Let's pull this picture back up. Actually, you're gonna want to get the top center and bottom center lined up, right? So you're gonna start with those two holes, and the best way to center it is go ahead and have somebody hold it down. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna use this side as a marker and this side as a marker, and go ahead and measure from that point to the edge of the hood, right? That point to the edge of the hood, they need to be equal. Why? Because if they're equal, that means the piece is straight. Have somebody hold the louver, drill your top hole, drill your bottom hole, and from there, the thing is not rotating anymore. So again, send some prayers, measure twice, cut once, or in this case, drill once, and then go from there. And so the advice from there is once you have those two center rivets on, work your way to the right, top right, and then and then bottom right. So what I did was basically did every other hole going to the right, and then every other hole going to the right on the bottom, and then filled in those holes that we missed, and then same thing onto the left side, right? So every other hole, drill, rivet, every other hole, drill, rivet, and then finish it up. And at that point, it's not going anywhere. The thing did not move. It just, in my opinion, it looked great. I think it did the job. All I could see throughout the weekend was really heat just billowing out of the hood under the engine bay. The louver does come already pre-bent. In my opinion, don't touch it. It's aluminum, or it's metal. So as you know, the more you bend it, the weaker it will eventually get. And so it's already pre-bent. You might have to, I don't have a photo of this, but there might be this louver right here, right guys, where you might need to just ever so slightly bend that one, because it might rub one of the hoses. I think it's the the evap that comes out of the intake elbow. That hose comes really close to that louver. We actually just used a little bit of aluminum tape there to just, one, to protect it, but two, to see if it was rubbing. We did bend the louver just ever so slightly to the point where you can't even tell, and it was fine. I do have a PRL intake, and so I don't know if the factory intake, if that hose sits higher or not, but definitely something to be aware of. And so but yeah, big shout out to Race Louver for a pretty badass product. I hope this video and voiceover was helpful for those that might be a little nervous about cutting into the hood. This is my third hood that I've cut into. I've cut into my M3 with a different set of hood louvers. I've also cut into my WX, also again with a different company set of louvers. It gets easier. I certainly understand if people don't want to cut into their stock hood, but it's not that hard, right? It's really just a lot of really, I keep saying it, but measure twice, cut once, and get creative with it, right? So anyway, best of luck. Hope this video was helpful, and feel free to ask questions, message me if you guys have any questions. Thank you.